Okay, so without further ado, I bring you Anthony Smith, our Executive Director of Lincoln Park Coast Cultural District, and your Master of Ceremonies for today. Thank you.
Whew, it's a warm day, but I'm glad the rain didn't come. So I have some notes that I have to go from. I've been working at the nonprofit in the nonprofit world for over 20 years, and when I started, I had hair. It was all black. Now I'm gray, and I was about 3 sizes smaller. And I wear glasses. So now you write notes now. So I just want to say good morning to everyone, to the Honorable Mayor Raz Baraka, the Newark Municipal Council, our distinguished partners at CAPSI, Wells Fargo Foundation, friends, supporters of Lincoln Park, members of the media, and most important, the residents and stakeholders of Lincoln Park. And a special welcome and thank you for coming out, the Lincoln Park team and the board. Would you please stand up? Our board members and the Lincoln Park team, Susan, Moselle, Tony, John, Teresa, Keith, Kim. I just want to say thank you to you guys because we have a very lean team, but we put out a great product, and just proud to have you as being a part of Lincoln Park family and the team. I won't take too much time this morning, but I just wanted to get through the program and just note that one of our most favorite chefs is here, Sean Hassan, Rhythm and Food, and the food that he's prepared has come from our garden adjacent to this press conference, so please enjoy that at the end. I stand before you as one of Newark's native sons, born, raised here in Newark Public Schools, Barringer High School, the Blue Bears, went to school at Stockton and Fairleigh Dickinson, and just excited that I was able to come back home and be able to participate and be part of the change that's happening in the city that I was born and raised in. In 1999, we had a planning session, a charrette, and we looked at this area, and I think I saw someone from RPA here. During that time, we looked at the community, and we realized that the bones for this community was here. In the 30s and the 50s, it was called the Coast, and it's where all the jazz clubs were located down in this area going up to Branford Place. So Newark, this area has always been a mecca and a bedrock for just music, arts, and culture. Juxtaposed in front of Lincoln Park was all the mansions, so you had this district happening with all this wonderful culture bubbling up from the bottom to the top, and you had all the millionaires living around the park. So that was the ingredients of a great community as far as we was concerned. As we sat on that charrette in 1999 in the Terrace Ballroom in the historical Newark Symphony Hall, we looked at the challenges of the community. One was looking at the housing stock. At the time, a lot of Bayonne boxes was being built, and we wanted to build out a sustainable community looking at LEED certified housing and green housing. In addition to that, there was just some basic quality of life issues. We were off the grid, and we needed to make sure that public safety and clean and safe streets were very important to us. And at that time, what we were doing, we didn't know that now the cliche, the name is called place-based development, using arts and culture as the vehicle to shift and change the community. And that's what we've always been doing at Lincoln Park. I worked many years in government and since 1998. And I formally joined Lincoln Park, where I wore many hats. If you ever worked at a nonprofit organization, you'll wear every hat at a nonprofit organization because your skill sets are needed everywhere. But during that time, as working in community engagement, we were able to spearhead a lot of programs. At the time, we were earmarked to build the Museum of African American Music. We're a Smithsonian affiliate. But having worked in New Orleans for Mark Morio for the Mayor's Office of Tourism, Arts, and Entertainment, understood the importance of what festivals can bring to a community. So in order to change the brand and image of the community, we created the Lincoln Park Music Festival in 2006. And outside of that, we did the Coast News and a host of other quality of life initiatives. Lincoln Park has survived and consistently has evolved, listening and catering to the needs of our long life Newarkers, while also listening to the new Newarkers who are coming to our community. We've been evergreen through 3 administrations, and we're still here. That means that we're doing good work, and our work is not done yet, as to the testament to what's happening today and Wells Fargo acknowledging us. With our partners, CAPSI, who has been just an amazing partner, the City of Newark, along with the funders like Wells Fargo Regional Foundation, we once again are leading the wave for development along the southern end of Broad Street as we did nearly 2 decades ago. To that end, Wells Fargo Steering Committee, and with Wells Fargo, this whole process, you have a steering committee. And on that steering committee is comprised of residents, institutions, artists, entrepreneurs, educators, and most of all, our youth. At this time, I'd like to introduce one of our resident millennials, our youth engagement ambassador, to our steering committee, Jared Adams.
Thank you. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, everybody, coming out today. My name is Jared Adams. I am 26 years old. I'm a lifelong resident of Lincoln Park and of Newark. I live at the top of Crawford Street. Everybody knows me in this neighborhood for being at the top of the hill. And I actually came back to Newark about 4 years ago after graduating from college. And it was important for me to come back and live here for a while and be a part of Newark's changing culture and new renaissance here. And I just want to thank you, Anthony Smith, for giving me the opportunity to speak. Thank you, Kim, Susan. I'd also like to thank Wells Fargo and the steering committee, all the great folks that are on the steering committee. We spend a lot of time, canvassing the neighborhood, making sure who's in our neighborhood, all the youth that are in our neighborhood, changing things. It's our job to go out and see who's in our community and who's going to be a part of the changing culture here at Lincoln Park. So I just want to say thank you to Wells Fargo and the entire steering committee. I also want to say thank you to CAPC, all the great work that you guys do here in the community, and also to the City of Newark and everybody that came out today. Also the growing farmers market in the back. Didn't even know we had that, but I know now. So thank you guys, and we're going to continue this press conference. Thank you.
So as we move along, I'd like to introduce one of our partners who partnered with us for this grant, who is being awarded this grant with Lincoln Park. It's CAPSI. But CAPSI is more than just a partner. Wayne and Wayne and Jeff have been friends. They have stuck by us through the hardest times. And I'm so appreciative to have your friendship and your partnership. And I'd like to introduce Jeff Crum.
Thanks. I hope you can say those nice things to my wife about me too, because I don't think she likes me quite as much. Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming out today. This really means so much to be here today. This is a great initiative. This is something that the community can really celebrate. And I think what's really special about this planning effort, unlike many others where you have people sitting in offices making decisions for communities, this is really a resident-driven planning process. And for those who may not be familiar with the distinction, it's a really important distinction because the ideas, the thoughts, the initiatives, the programs that are going to come out of this plan are going to be ones that the residents of Lincoln Park put together. That's really, really important, and I just want everybody to recognize that. And that is driven by our funder, the Wells Fargo Regional Foundation. Denise, their executive director, is here with us, and I'm sure will say much better words than I have too. but they've singularly dedicated their foundation to this effort. And I've been working with them for over a decade now, started my career in Patterson, but they have continued to look at ways of improving their process, improving their outputs, making sure that everything that went into this process really was led by the residents, led by community organizations, so that the voices that come through in the plan are really heard, and then that information can flow up to the city. That information can flow to the other stakeholders who want to bring projects, want to bring development to these communities. So we really appreciate your efforts. You know, Anthony and I have been involved with the work here in Lincoln Park for a number of years now. I feel that we've really created some remarkable successes, and it's just the beginning. This is just the beginning of what our partnership's going to lead. I think if you turn around, right behind you, you see the wonderful community garden, the farmers market that takes place here once a month now. And that was really thanks to Emilio, thanks to Anthony, thanks to Susan, for seeing a vision, for seeing an opportunity, for taking a vacant piece of land that we had and saying, let's create something great out of it. Similarly, we took 2 vacant, burned out parcels along Washington Street that were real gaps in a really great fabric of structures that exist right along Washington Street. And we built 18 new condominium units. For those of you who may not be involved with community development, home ownership is the greatest form of wealth creation that this country's been able to create, especially for low, moderate income families. So we really thought it was important, and that was driven by Baye and by Anthony to say, you know, we need to make sure that these units that we build are actually owned by people. I don't want to go on too much longer. I know everybody's hot, and we didn't set up the sprinkler yet, maybe afterwards. But I just wanted to thank a couple other people, in addition to Anthony, for all your great leadership. Susan Austin has been a tremendous advocate. She really keeps this moving day to day, and that can't be lost on how important her role is. I also want to thank my colleagues, Giancarlo and Steph, who are here. They have been tremendous in helping with the resident survey, which is a crucial component of this plan. Annie and the team from Topology, Maku, who's helped lead the resident survey. So thank you for coming out. This is just the beginning. We hope to see you here again in another year or two with many more great things started because of your input. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. First, I want all the steering committee members, can you just stand up who's here, part of the steering committee? Yes. Also, I want to give a shout out to Jeremy Johnson, Kim Williams, Jeff, and a host of others. I see Thomas here. Jeremy works at the Newark Arts Council as the executive director, and he has championed Lincoln Park. We're in each other's back pocket to make sure that things are happening. Kevin, over there, just so many people. But now I would like to introduce, I would like to thank, first of all, I would thank the Newark Municipal Council, the county, and everyone else, but I want to introduce someone that's really special to Lincoln Park. That's Mayor Raz Baraka. See, Lincoln Park started off as a dream, and his pop, the late Amiri Baraka, was one of our founding board members. And they saw a vision in this community. And I'm so happy that I'm able to still continue to carry that torch, and for him up in heaven and for you as our leader and the mayor to see it actualize with all of us partnering together. So without even saying any more, don't have to say a lot to introduce you. I'd like to bring up the Honorable Mayor Raz Baraka.
So I just want to thank Anthony, and walked in right on cue, the folks from the Lincoln Park Coast Cultural District for continuing the work that's been going on in this community for some time. In fact, this community here is a lot different than it was 5 years, 10 years ago, and it's continuing to develop and move and go forward, and we're excited about what's happening here. And he said everything as I walked in terms of the Lincoln Park Coast and the idea of the Coast Cultural District. and the jazz and the music that existed in this area, the rich kind of community that lived in this part of the city that many might not have known about or know the history of in this area, where you could see not just see Sarah Vaughan or Willie Lyon Smith or any of these artists that would perform in New York would also be here in Newark at these jazz clubs performing. Whether they at Sonny Oliver's or down the street a little bit, they were here performing and hanging out here in the city of Newark. The Mosque Theater across the street, where we know as Symphony Hall today. It's a rich history here, and folks believe that this history should be preserved and preserved by advancing this community with the residents, and they're doing an awesome job. I just want to thank Wells Fargo for noticing the work that they're doing and partnering with them to make sure they continue planning, continue moving this vision forward in the city. He also said something that's incredibly important that I think many I think is lost on a lot of folks. The idea that art is an opportunity for redevelopment and regrowth. Art is the reason that this city is going to come back, that is in the process of coming back, and folks are, whether you're talking about the film festival or murals or the art that's happening down here or all of the galleries that are existing in the city, these things are very, very, very important for the growth and development of any city. Its economic life, its social life, its cultural life grows because of an attachment and a realization that art is not just an aesthetic, it's a way of life. So we appreciate that, and whatever we can do as a city to make sure that this dream continues to realize itself, we're going to partner to make sure that that happens, that's for sure. Again, thank you, Wells Fargo. Thank you, Lincoln Park Coast Cultural District, for the work you're doing. Anthony, looking forward to the Lincoln Park Music Festival. I got some new music I might want to throw out there, so be on the lookout.
So finally, I would like to bring up Denise McGregor Ambrister. Denise, I met you in 2004, here in Lincoln Park, when Baye was the executive director. We already had the Symphony Hall West redevelopment plan. And you came in, I think Lois was with you at the time, and you gave us the implementation grant because we already had the planning grant. So we went from 2004 to 2007 implementing, and this is the fruits of the support that you've given us in the past. But we really realized that the work wasn't done. And you already know what it took for us to continue. We tried and tried again, and then we were awarded this grant. And we're just so appreciative that you believed in us and believed in Lincoln Park, because we're going to be a model community for you to be proud of.
Well, thank you, Anthony, and thank you, everyone. As Anthony mentioned, my name is Denise McGregor Armbrister, and I have the privilege and the pleasure of serving as the Executive Director for the Wells Fargo Regional Foundation. Two of my colleagues are here with us today, and I'd ask if they'd just wave their hands, Tomas Paturo and Lauren Mikas, and we're all very excited to be here for this exciting event. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with the Wells Fargo Regional Foundation, we are a private foundation with an affiliation of Wells Fargo Bank. Our mission is to improve the lives of children and families living throughout eastern Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware, and we do that by supporting the revitalization of neighborhoods. And we too, as you've heard Jeff mention earlier, we believe that by engaging residents in the development of a plan for the future of their neighborhood, entire communities become energized and change actually takes place. The Wells Fargo Regional Foundation has recently celebrated our 20th anniversary of building stronger neighborhoods. We only fund those projects that we believe create long-term sustainable change and projects that will help rebuild and revitalize neighborhoods through partnerships and working collaboratively. And we recognize that strong partnership with CAPSI and the Lincoln Park Coast Cultural District. We also know that in order to successfully create a plan, it's not only the committed leaders, the residents, the stakeholders. It also takes resources. And that is why I am just so pleased, and I'm not sure why I'm getting so choked up here, to announce that the board of the Wells Fargo Regional Foundation is pleased to support the work that is taking place in Lincoln Park and has awarded CAPC $100,000 to support the creation of a comprehensive resident-driven neighborhood revitalization plan here in Lincoln, the Lincoln Park neighborhood. So again, $100,000 to support the work here in Lincoln Park. And I've just asked if the steering committee, CAPC, and all the other members of the effort would come forth. I have a sort of a big check to provide you with. And here we go.